On the central panel, devils of all kinds converge upon a circular edifice before which Antony is kneeling, his right hand raised in blessing. The village ablaze in the distance is perhaps an allusion to St. Antony's fire, or ergotism, a terrible disease caused by ergot of rye. The monks of the Order of St. Anthony specialized in the treatment and care of the victims. They suffered from burning sensations and hallucinations of being attacked by hordes of beasts and demons. Bosch's devils perhaps resemble these visions. Antony, placed in the geographical center of this triptych, has managed to resist every diabolical ruse through the strength of his faith. In the words of the Bible, "Even if a host should encamp against me, my heart shall not fear."
Les tableaux de Bosch, ceux qu'on pense être des originaux de Bosch, ont une surface très rêche. C'est-à-dire qu'il y a ce qu'on appelle des empâtements. La matière picturale a un relief qui est volontairement laissé visible par l'artiste. Donc c'est une matière peut-être un peu grasse, pâteuse, qui donne ces petits monticules, ces petites crêtes. Mais c'est une grande innovation parce que la tradition des peintres des anciens Pays-Bas, les grands artistes de la fin du XVe siècle et puis parfois aussi du début du XVIe siècle, ils ont cette peinture très lisse, avec cet aspect un peu de porcelaine, qui est lié à une volonté de cacher le travail. En fait, le summum de l'art, c'est de se cacher comme art. On ne doit pas voir la trace de la main, la trace du pinceau. On doit avoir l'impression que les tableaux se sont faits eux-mêmes, que ce sont des images qui sont apparues d'elles-mêmes, en fait. Ce n'est plus ce que veut faire Bosch, qui, là, appartient à la modernité, en fait. Il y a la libération qui passe d'abord par la conscience et puis qui se fait, qui va jusqu'à la main, et de la libération, en fait, de l'expression individuelle. On n'a plus peur, en fait, on n'est plus terrorisé devant l'idée de montrer que l'on a fait soi-même tel ou tel tableau. Cette libération de la main dans l'expression graphique, assez nerveuse, assez spontanée, elle se présente d'abord au stade du dessin sous-jacent, comme elle le fait dans le tréfonds de la conscience humaine, finalement. Et elle va affleurer à la surface des tableaux, comme elle va affleurer dans le comportement des gens et dans une certaine libération spirituelle à laquelle on pourrait associer, par exemple, la naissance du protestantisme.
Bosch, at the time of the painter, was a religious and commercial centre built on marshy ground and crossed by an underground river, the Binnendiese, which served for transport. The construction of the Cathedral of St. John, a Gothic edifice in the Brabant style, began at the end of the 14th century, yet when Bosch died in 1516 it had still not been completed. The fantastic bestiary which adorns the cathedral's flying buttresses shows that inventiveness in the matter of monsters existed prior to Bosch. He may have found part of his inspiration in the art of the cathedral sculptors and in the illustrated margins of medieval manuscripts. During carnival time, the great cathedral comes to life.
Our society nowadays, of course, is not as Renaissance and late medieval society was, dominated by religion. For us, religion is something which is remote, and even those who are very devout and who are very religious still do not, in a sense, have their daily life pervaded by religious ideas and by religious, I would say, eschatological values as people had in those early days. Life here is miserable, and it was for 99.9% of the people living in the 15th and 16th century a miserable life. So they were longing for that better life. And these pictures, like sermons, like prayer books, like so many other cultural feats of the time, were giving them keys, were giving them, as it were, ways towards salvation. As the 16th century goes on, aesthetic aspects become more important. But above all, these paintings are about salvation, are about Christian values and Christian ideals.
This striking clothed wooden sculpture of the Virgin Mary dates from the beginning of the 14th century and is still revered in the Cathedral of 's-Hertogenbosch. From 1479 onwards, to the north of the chancel, began the reconstruction of a chapel reserved for the Order of Our Lady. The archives tell us that Hieronymus Bosch himself became a member of this brotherhood in 1488. The financial success of the brotherhood was due in large measure to the sale of indulgences, the letters of which are kept here at the National Archives in 's-Hertogenbosch. In the minds of the faithful, indulgences had become a kind of investment in life after death. In return for payment, part of which went to the church, they were supposed to shorten the time the souls of the dead would have to stay in purgatory. Hans Dietz, known as Tetzel, a German preacher and exact contemporary of Bosch, even went so far as to say that souls leapt out of the fire as soon as the coins jingled in his till.
Ik zei al, een van de aflaatbrieven. Dit is een aflaatbrief die nog wat ouder is. Een aflaatbrief die zeer speciaal voor de broederschap van de Heilige Maria gemaakt is. De initiaal, de letter U, is hier zeer rijk versierd met een staande Maria. De broederschap kreeg hiermee het recht om iedereen die in de kapel kwam 40 dagen strafvermindering in het vagevuur te schenken. Tevens zit in deze brief ook besloten dat iemand die lid werd van de broederschap of schenkingen aan de broederschap deed, ook nog extra aflaten kon verdienen. En dat betekende natuurlijk dat hiermee eigenlijk de basis wordt gelegd van een broederschap die zich heel gemakkelijk over een flink stuk van de stad en zelfs van een flink stuk daarbuiten kon uitbreiden.
Christ, flagellated and crowned with thorns, is presented to the hostile crowd. The dialogue between the crowd and the Roman governor Pontius Pilate is indicated by Latin inscriptions. Pilate, who's holding a rod, the symbol of his authority, is pronouncing the words "Ecce homo," behold the man. The people gathered at the foot of the terrace answer Pilate the hypocrite with "Crucifige eum," crucify him. The third inscription, Salve nos Christi Redemptor, Save us Christ the Redeemer, once emerged from the mouths of the donors situated on the lower left of the panel. Like the figure of Christ, which an unscrupulous collector had clothed, the male donors had been painted over. Their presence was revealed by X-ray photography, and they were uncovered during a recent restoration. On the lower right, barely visible, is a kneeling woman and 5 young daughters of the same family. As a sign of humility, all the donors are represented on a smaller scale than Christ and his contemporaries. The Middle East, as imagined by Bosch,